whenever I see people that are strong spiritually, it always encourages me. And then the question comes to mind, how could I be as strong as that person? It's as if something just comes out of them. And maybe you may not have looked at those things like I have, and maybe you have. But something that's non-tangible flows out of their person that says to you, I'm strong because of the things I've gone through and I've come through successfully. When you get around mature people, it makes you want to be mature. I mean, they're not wishy-washy, they're not flaky. When they say, I'll be there, they'll be there. When they say, I'll help you, they'll help you. It's as if, there's something that flows out of their life. And as I talk about steps to spiritual maturity, Paul was saying to these guys, I gotta let you know how I see you because you don't see yourself. And if you never travel, you really don't see and have a context of how you fit within the global scheme. And he's saying, guys, if you never get a chance to go around and see other churches and other cities and other places and see the movement of the Holy Spirit, you don't know how you compare with them. Not in the comparative sense, but you don't know how you fare because you're so absorbed with you. The same way we all have children, and when our children are going through their growth spurts, because we're with them, we don't really get a perspective as to how much they've grown. Until a family member who has not seen us since last Thanksgiving comes and visits and then says, man, you've grown. And we're wondering, what is he talking about? Man, you've grown. See, that family member who hasn't seen little Johnny since last year, little Johnny's changed now. It's now Big Johnny with a deep voice. And everything is transformed because this 1 year made a big change hormonally, big change physically, big change in Johnny. In fact, he doesn't even want to be called little Johnny now any longer. He wants to be called John. And so everything is transformed. And I want you now to understand, Paul is saying, guys, let me give you perspective of yourselves. I've seen your faith grow more and more. I've seen your love increase. And I've commended you for the way you handle trials. Paul tells them 3 things to give them perspective. I want to now dig into those 3 things so you can get perspective of yourself. Because if you don't know, we're living in times that are very tough, and we have to rise to the occasion. First point Paul made to them was this. He said, we ought always to thank God for you. He's talking about how he prays. When I pray about you, I find myself thanking God for you. Because your faith is growing more and more. In other words, in order to be able to be someone that is spiritually mature, you have to have growing faith. What must you have? Growing faith. So first point of commendation Paul gives to the church of Thessalonica is that he says to them is that your faith is growing more and more. Now, faith is a very interesting word. It's almost like grabbing something that's greasy. It's hard to grasp. And so faith, it's like that. And so you have to really unpack it and really to really get it. But the essence of faith is this. Faith means to trust God. Faith is to put your trust in God. Look at me for a moment. I want you to put your right hand out in front of you. Put your left hand now in front, both hands. Now, grab one hand with the other like this. This is what faith means. Faith is when you put your trust in God. Now, pull it apart. And faith is not you being able to hold on to God. Rather, faith is God holding on to you. When we put our trust in God, we're saying God is able to keep us when we don't even know how to keep ourselves. And so my faith is not in my abilities, it's not in my wisdom. My faith is saying I trust in God's ability to hold me. So when my grip is being loosened, He is holding me. When my fingers are getting slippery, He's holding me. I want you to see, Paul was saying to the guys at Thessalonica, I want you to know, amidst all the trials and sufferings, all the persecutions, I want you to know what I see in you.